first let's discuss the identities you already know. I'm going to move my tool over. Okay, let's recall that tangent of theta is the y divided by the x when we're looking at the unit circle. Well, think about what y is on the unit circle. Y was equal to the sine of theta, and x was equal to the cosine of theta. So for henceforth and forevermore, we now have a new identity, that the tangent of theta is equal to the sine of theta divided by the cosine of theta. All right, let's look at secant of theta. Secant of theta was the reciprocal of cosine, or we would say that secant of theta was 1 divided by x, which means that secant of theta is equal to 1 divided by the cosine of theta. So from henceforth and forevermore, we are going to remember that the secant of theta is now this identity 1 divided by the cosine of theta. Let's look at cotangent. Remember, cotangent was just the reciprocal or the flip of tangent, where tangent is y divided by x, cotangent is x divided by y. So cotangent then should be what x is, which we know is the cosine of theta on the unit circle, over y, which we know on the unit circle is the sine of theta. So from henceforth and forevermore, we're going to now say that the cotangent of theta is the cosine of theta divided by the sine of theta. All right, lastly, cosecant of theta. We have known cosecant to be the reciprocal of sine. So cosecant was 1 divided by y, or the reciprocal of sine, which means that cosecant is 1 divided by the sine of theta. Y is just the sine of theta. So for henceforth and forevermore, we're going to remember cosecant of theta as 1 divided by the sine of theta. Now, recall that we just used our definitions of our trig identities from the unit circle to come up with these 4 identities. We are going to keep these identities in our memory, and we're going to be using those to rewrite other identities.